Ladies and gentlemen, Midnight Launch, bringing to you our 7th podcast. It is myself, Michael, joined by Jesse.
Hello.
Robert.
Hey, what's up?
And special guest, Shane.
Hello.
Welcome, sir, to our 7th annual edition of presenting video game audio to people on YouTube. So before we get into the gritty details of everything, I'd like to first of all say two of our members, Tim and Jack, have both cited personal reasons and as a result have chose to withdraw from actively participating. But as I told both of them, there is a spot in the line for the launch, so they don't have to worry. If they ever decide, hey, I'm ready, I'm not so busy anymore, it's open for them. But now that we got that out of the way, and I'm sure that,
they're probably confused right now. They left. Just
yes,
to clarify that.
They are not here right now, but they could be back potentially soon.
No, let's not give them.
Who knows?
They're
Who
gone.
knows? It's the internet.
Yes,
Everything could happen. Gotta stop being such a pessimist about this stuff, Jesse.
Well, see,
Yeah, realism, all that sort of stuff. So, as a result, we shall start off with what we always thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We will start off with what we always start off with. What have you been playing this week? And since Shane, you are our guest, sir, what have you been playing this week?
Well, I've been playing a game called Speed King, which was released by Konami in 1995 for the PlayStation. It's based off of the Speed King, or I think it's called Road Rage arcade game that was released specifically in Japan and Europe. But this game never saw any release in Europe or in Europe or North America. And I've been having a little bit of fun playing it because it's basically a Wipeout clone that they were afraid to release anywhere else.
Now, I haven't played a Wipeout game before, so I'm not as adept in, what exactly about it is so special. So would you mind giving me a quick rundown of what makes it cool?
Well, Wipeout is just a really awesome game because you're like a floating car on a track, and it has no real limitations for speed, so the game can be a really, really super fast game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing exactly how fast the game can go. And Speed King tries to copy that by just having an incredibly fast-paced game. But unlike Wipeout, where there's a really good frame rate, very good graphics, and very good controls, Speed King kind of doesn't hit a lot of the marks, and I have to imagine that's why they didn't release it anywhere else. It's simply not as good as Wipeout.
Okay, so I guess as there would be a similar comparison, in a way of sense?
I think so, actually. I haven't really played that one before, though.
Okay. Well, that's always interesting when a company makes a game that's extremely similar to a game and realizes that they couldn't check all the boxes, and as a result, they're sort of scared of really, going out of their way and, testing it to see, could this sell really well, but do you think it could have?
Honestly, the game is made by Konami, so there's a bunch of references to Metal Gear Solid, Snatcher, one of the Japanese series that only briefly made it to North America and Europe with a Sega CD and Mega CD release.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just one of those games where I don't think there would have been enough of a fan base, despite the fact that one of the race cars in it is actually called the Solid Snake.
Huh. Well, I guess this, like every game like that, exists in just about every culture from every single genre. So, no one can deny that will happen, I suppose. So
yeah, I think so.
That sounds pretty cool, though, to be honest. Anything else?
No, that's about it. There's really not much else to say about the racing game. It's fairly cool. It just doesn't have a lot really going for it, and with only 4 tracks and I think like 7 racers or whatever it is, it doesn't really. It's nothing really amazing. But
wow.
I went to a convention. Somebody had a bunch of Japanese games in a bin, and I took a look at the bottom of the bin, and I saw that game, and I knew what it was, and I was like, "Oh my god, you need to give that game to me now!" And I got it. So that's basically how it worked out.
That happens, man. All right, sounds cool. Robert, my friend, what have you been playing this week?
Mostly more competitive CS:GO, and recently got back into Guild Wars 2,
Okay.
which is kind of exciting.
Did that go free to play recently, or am I remembering correctly?
It's always been free to play.
Oh, that's right. It was always free to play. Gosh.
But it's not free to buy. Like, you still have to buy it, but everything is pretty much free after that. There's in-game currency and stuff, but that's literally all cosmetics and, like, server changes.
Mm-hmm. Do you think more games should, more MMOs, I mean, should try to emulate that model of you buy it once and then it's just cosmetic crap?
I don't know, because World of Warcraft, obviously, you know, the pinnacle of the MMOs, according to a lot of people. The subscription service kept a lot of people continuously playing. And Guild Wars 2 has an issue where, you know, people pick it up for a while, and then they drop it off because there's no constant need to play because of that subscription.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So what ends up happening is, you know, I have a lot of friends, specifically Reddit friends, who, like, join up and they'll play it, but then they'll turn it off because, you know, they get bored or, you know, they plateau in the levels and it gets kind of dull.
Okay.
So there's that, and it's some of the zones feel kind of empty.
Mm.
Maybe that's not subscription based. Maybe that's just poor level design. But I don't know. I really enjoy it because I don't like spending $50 every month for a game I already purchased. So it works out that way really well.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with that. As a person who played WoW for, you know, a couple years, dropping $15 a month, and sometimes maybe playing for maybe 20 hours a month, you sort of wondered why you were doing it, and then you had the months where you spent 200 hours playing the game, and then you realize, okay, this is definitely more than $50 worth. So
yeah, I don't know. I have over 100 hours in Guild Wars 2.
Yeah.
Only spent about $60, and I'm like halfway through my first character, so I've got a long ways to go.
Yeah, man. That's pretty good. All right, Jesse, my friend, what have you been playing this week?
Well, I kind of took a dive from where I went last week, and because of you, I have recently been playing a shit ton of Mass Effect 3 multiplayer.
My friend, you have not taken a dive. You have experienced a grateful light speed jump into awesomeness that is Mass Effect 3's multiplayer.
Yeah, I know, and to be honest, I spent the last 3 days playing it, and it's made me late to work twice, almost. And,
sorry about that.
It's all good. No, but in all honesty, though, I didn't actually get the online pass because I rented the thing from GameFly, but then I went back and I actually went out and got it when it was cheaper. Still no online pass, though. And so I always shied away from multiplayer because I figured it was just some tacked-on, like, PvP kind of Bioshock 2-esque kind of system in third person, but it actually wasn't. See, the funny thing is when I describe this to people, they think that I'm crazy because I tell them it's Call of Duty meets Horde mode. And they're like, yeah, that kind of already exists. And I'm telling them, no, it's not the same. But, that's at least what I'm getting from it because you have your loadouts, you have your special abilities.
I would say it's Horde
like,
mode meets Mass Effect.
Well, obviously, but I'm trying to make it in a sense of, well, if you haven't played Mass Effect before, then you have a comparison.
I definitely wouldn't say it's like Call of Duty because you have one loadout for a character. You have different characters.
Well, you can change it. Yeah, you do have different characters, but I mean, I'm still going to say that only because it's the easiest thing for people to refer
Understandable.
to. I mean, and when I was playing that, I've recently been, I met a guy last night, and he showed me how to optimize a character so fucking well, and it's amazing now that I can play the game and, like, stay in gold mode and get in the top ranks. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah. Once you get a hang of it, it's great like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, but you're gonna do nothing but play bronze until you unlock, like, a really nice character that just flows with you, and then you're gonna start hitting up in the golds, and it's gonna be like, oh my gosh, I can buy the biggest pack in, like, one round.
Yep. And would you say it's a problem, or is it just, you know, it's difficulties for the sake of difficulty and, you know, that sort of balance thing?
I was talking with him, and he was saying that in order to do platinum, you're gonna need a specific character.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the way that the system in Mass Effect works, where you unlock characters, it's entirely random for those that didn't know, and it's pretty much like a collectible card pack. You just grab one box for a certain amount of credits. You earn the credits by playing the games. Each difficulty gives you more credits, and so on and so forth. It's a pretty simple system. The only problem is that when I was talking with him, he said, yeah, there's really only one character you want to play with on the hardest difficulty. When you're getting gold difficulty, and you can do it better than everyone else for the most part, then you might want to try platinum with that character. But there's only one character you want to touch platinum with otherwise, and it's unless you have pretty much everything maxed out, you're not going to really be touching platinum, and I find myself only wanting to play that game to max everything out.
Yeah, I had the same thing, because I went through the same sensation. And did you say what character it is?
The character that plays platinum?
Mm-hmm.
He said it was the Geth Juggernaut. He said that character is by far the best one you want to use for that because of his abilities, and he's a very big tank.
Well,
and he also can't be insta-killed.
It is brand new, so...
Yeah, that's part of the DLC.
Hasn't been balanced
or
yet.
Something like that. Yeah.
You said the DLC. There's a lot of free content packs. I think there's been 5 now, and they've all been pretty big maps and characters and weapons and stuff. And they've all been free, so...
Yeah, I think they're doing that to redeem the ending because so many people were pissed. They're like, fuck, alright, we'll just give you a lot of multiplayer shit. Have fun. Mm-hmm. But, yeah. To be honest, I'm okay with it because I played the campaign. I didn't think the ending was bad. So, I don't know. That's just me speaking. But, I mean, the multiplayer is just, it's really fun. I haven't played anything since, like, for the last week. So.
That's going to happen to you. Alright, that's cool. I guess I should get what I've been playing. I've been playing more Blood Bowl, as you might expect. I have 3 Blitzers at level 4, which means they have 4 bonus skills, which means they're very good Blitzers. But that's what you expect. I, play stuff like that, and I've also been playing Gears of War Judgment, which just came out recently.
Yeah, how is that actually? Because I have a friend who beat it in like 7 hours, and they're like, I don't really give a shit about multiplayer, but this game is way too short.
The campaign's interesting. I definitely like it, especially with the declassified missions, which are crazy. They could be anything from you have no ammunition to start off that's part of the declassified mission to there's a bunch of smog in the area, or more enemies of certain types attack you. And so it allows every single time you play through the game, you can choose to use them or not. And also, every single engagement is random. Like, it's going to be different locust every time. So, if you die, or if you have to start a checkpoint, you're not going to be fighting the same dudes, so you have to approach it differently every time, which I appreciate. And to be honest, I look at all of these environmental effects, I look at this randomization stuff, and I want to say that this is sort of them testing out some systems for Fortnite. But that's just me. And in terms of multiplayer, I can genuinely say I don't like the basic competitive multiplayer. It just doesn't feel like Gears of War, especially Gears of War 3, which is awesome in my opinion, until I played Overrun. And Overrun is like it's an attack and defense mode where the Locusts attack and the Gears defend. But the thing is, it's about your classes and so the cogs have stim gas and ammo packs and sentry turrets and defenses they have to keep repaired, and the Locusts have all the different styles of Locusts they can attack, and it's a really cool dynamic where whichever squad finishes it first wins, whichever squad fails at it first fails, and I really like it. I think that Overrun is what they hedged their bets on in the end in this game, and in my opinion they hedged them on the right bet.
I'm not gonna lie, that description sounded a lot like Left 4 Dead.
You could say that, but there aren't any other normal zombies. It's just 5-on-5 humans versus Locust. But
yeah, I mean, that's probably to be fair, but yeah, I'm just saying it sounds like Left 4 Dead with the classes and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So that wraps up what we've been playing this week, and that definitely good range of games, I'd say, this week. We have, unreleased PlayStation 1 games and, the newest title from Epic Games in there. So, let's get on to what we have discussed in the pre-show, as we always do, gentlemen. So, PAX is going on this week. The Penny Arcade Expo up in Boston, and that's probably the closest PAX to me, so I kind of sad I didn't get a chance to go, but, that's what happens. And there's been a lot of pretty big announcements there. I'd say the first sort of big announcement that happened was Blizzard announced Hearthstone Heroes of Warcraft, which was the collectible card game that's going to be free to play with, microtransaction packs. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts on it.
That sounds so dumb.
Really?
Like, anything just like gimmicky. That's like
Gimmicky? What's gimmicky about a card game?
I don't know. Card games like.
Well, okay.
It just feels like extra revenue that they're just trying to rake in.
So let me understand. So this game is a virtual card game where you have to buy virtual card packs in order to progress through playing it, right?
You can. You don't have to, but you can. You can. In general, you can earn them just as much by playing online.
It's free to play.
It's free to play, yeah.
There has been I've been talking to a lot of people that make video games, that play video games, and Blizzard lately has seemed to really do a lot of good things and then a lot of bad things. They've been on a cup of kind of changing the way that they feel about designing games, and this seems to me like they're trying to expand into a market that they simply don't understand. And everyone that's been making free-to-play games has been saying that's a dying market. Social and free-to-play have been drying up because people don't enjoy the experiences as much as a full-featured game that you could get anywhere else. And I know that it's been a thing that's been on a lot of people's minds because of that company that was making all those games on Facebook, and they're like in total financial distress.
Oh, Zynga?
Zynga, yeah.
Thank
Zynga's
God.
been in a state of disarray because nobody wants to play their games anymore. So I'm so curious as to why Blizzard thinks this is a good idea.
That's why I think it just sounds like a spin-off.
Because it's derived from the Warcraft universe. I would say that they're trying to do it because, well, first of all, they aren't betting the farm on this. It's just a small team of 15 people working on it internally in Blizzard, and they said that that they've had to have people in the offices. They've had to tell them to stop playing it because they've been playing it too much. Which, considering how Blizzard fans get, I can only assume that this game's going to come out, and then some people are going to want to instantly go and build a deck, because it's a CCG, so you have to build decks. It's sort of like the WoW TCG combined with Magic a little bit, so it's a very good example of a CCG. Actually, from what I saw of it, it's going to have personality. First and foremost, when you compare to Duels of Planewalker or any of the Magic the Gathering games, it seems like it definitely has a lot more. It definitely seems like it has a lot more to it, a lot more to do. Like there's card forging where you can create more cards out of your old cards from packs. When I saw it, I'm looking forward to it. I really am. Mostly because.
Sorry,
Okay.
go ahead.
Well, not only is it coming on PC and Mac, but it's also coming out, on like Android and all that sort of stuff. So, in general, I'm looking forward to it because, simply put, it seems like it's not going to be the exact same CCG that every other game is going to be. My opinion.
But see, okay, so lately Valve jumped into the Dota market, and they were all like, hey guys, look what we can do. We don't just do first-person shooters, we also do point-and-click RTS games. Hey, aren't we cool? And they did a pretty decent job, unless you're a hardcore Dota fan, and in which case you just hated it completely. But most people think it's a good idea, and it was done well. So Blizzard has never really done a game like this. I mean, to my knowledge, even going into the past when they were making like 2D action-adventure games like Blackstone, I think it was the name of that game. But anyway...
I know they lost Vikings, that's about all I know, and Rock and Roll Racing.
Yeah, stuff like that. You know, they used to make other games, so I know that they have experience in different fields, but I've never really seen a digital card game work really well, and I've only personally liked one. And what I loved about that one is I didn't have to buy digital decks of freaking cards, because nothing about that seems interesting to me, even if you never had to, because there's an option there, and this is a game that I assume is multiplayer. You know that eventually you're gonna have to do that because someone else is gonna have a better deck than you just because they bought something you couldn't get naturally.
Well, that's how
Yeah.
all CCGs are.
It's all about whether or not you could buy a specific card or just the pack. Now, in the Mass Effect one, that's a real good system for microtransactions because you're buying packs, you're buying randomized stuff, you're just buying the extra stuff. You don't know what card you're going to get. That's fine.
You don't,
that's what I
you don't know
want
what
to see.
you don't know what cards you're getting in this game either. It's
Well,
always
good.
going to be random
If you're
packs.
if you're going to be buying specific cards like you can do in the real world, fuck that. At that point, you might as well just be saying, hey, whoever has the most amount of money and like the best optimization and most time to spend researching the subject wins. And I guess entirely the only thing I have a complaint about the collectible card games is the fact that it's all about balancing. I played a fuck ton of Magic the Gathering, and I can honestly say card games are all about balance.
Yep.
That's all it is. That it has nothing else to do with what cards you get through randomness. It has nothing else to do with what you're going to draw next. It has nothing else to do with what your opponent has. It's all about balancing cards against each other, and that is incredibly hard to do.
Well, if you
Only
get
because you have so many.
well, if you get like mana screwed or creature screwed, it's
Well, that was poor deck design then. You should have optimized your deck better.
well sometimes even after you mulligan, you're still going to have this sort of crap happen to you.
Yeah. I mean, that's like a 1 in 100 shot, though, if you have an optimized deck.
Well,
That's something that, like, you would only have if you didn't put enough mana in there. And that's, honestly, when I've been playing, that is the only time I've had that happen, is if I don't have enough mana after I draw my hand and mulligan, you're doing something wrong, and that deck needs to be fixed. But, I mean, most times that's what the case is. There is that odd chance where the deck is perfectly fine, you just got a shit game.
Well,
But,
here's what I think about like the whole, what's it called, Hearthstone?
Hearthstone.
Hearthstone. Okay. So, I know that a lot of people like Blizzard games a lot. Diablo 2, Diablo 3 to an extent people like. I think they like Diablo 2 a lot more. But the whole problem I'm finding with this is that if they really trusted it, and you know what I mean, if they really trusted it, they would have released it in its own IP. But the fact that they have to leech off the Warcraft IP says to me that they are trying to pull gamers from World of Warcraft over because I don't think they trust this game enough to survive on its own. I mean, I could be completely wrong about that, but, I don't see Blizzard really trying new things, and a card game with Warcraft characters is cool and all, but it's a card game with Warcraft characters. Do you know how many people make card games, digital card games? The one time, and I'm telling you, the one time I saw somebody do something completely different, and I was like, okay, that's pretty cool, was when the guys at Konami went, hey, Metal Gear Solid, that could be a card game.
oh, yeah.
And then they did Metal Gear Acid 1 and 2. And arguably, 2 is so much better than 1. And it's such a fun experience. And I cannot, for the life of me, see this doing anything better than what the older card games have done. Only for the fact that Blizzard has their name on it. And I honestly don't think that's enough to really make anyone care. Because the Blizzard fan base of everyone that was playing Diablo 3, well, they got pissed off and walked away. And then World of Warcraft subscriptions have been down. And StarCraft 2 has been doing good, I think, but no one's really been talking about it that much. I mean, I've been seeing... I'm not a huge fan of Let's Plays, but I've been seeing very few Let's Plays of StarCraft freaking 2's new expansion, Part of the Swarm.
3.
Right? It's incredible. Dude, it's StarCraft 2.
Okay,
They
well,
have-
I guess I should clarify.
Ugh.
These are 3 people who are dedicated fans.
Well, I have something to say about the whole Warcraft thing, and honestly, in my own eyes, it's based off they know it's going to succeed, and yes, they might be relying on it entirely for the fact that they know it might be a failure, but they just throw Warcraft in there. Now, I could understand if this was a different style of game and you wanted to throw Warcraft in, expand the universe in a different way. That's fine. But if it's a collectible card game, you're not storytelling, you're not doing anything. They probably threw this Warcraft stuff in there because they just didn't want to think of ideas and they just need to release something else. Something to get the fans back up. And honestly, they're going to try something new. So be it, because I don't know what else they could release at this point that would keep the fans happy.
I know what they could release. StarCraft Ghost. Go back in time and get that game out on the launch. Man, I want to play that still. It looked so good. Every couple of years when they showed us something new about it, I was like, oh my god, this is going to be an amazing game. And then suddenly it just disappeared into the mist of beyond and never back again.
It's like Aliens Colonial Marines, except, they actually released that.
Oh god.
It was put
Okay,
into
yeah,
beyond.
StarCraft Ghost should stay dead. I'm good with that. I'm happy.
Well,
Thank you, Blizzard.
That is just one of the big announcements that happened at PAX this year. They announced XCOM Enemy Unknown. They announced a lot of information about the XCOM game. They specifically showed what it looked like when they put a year of work into it and decided to scrap the entire thing and create a new version. But I think probably the biggest thing that came out was that they're releasing XCOM Enemy Unknown in its entirety on iPad.
I thought it was... Oh, wait, right, never mind. I was about to say, I thought it was for the iOS... Oh, right, the iOS is the iPad. Never mind.
Yes,
So,
that's
what
iPhone,
do you think
iPad, and
about
all that
this?
stuff.
It works. It works for the system. I mean, it's a touch-based game, almost. The only difference is you're using your fingers, which honestly might be a little better, because, you have a lot... You can end your turns much quicker than dragging and doing all that stuff. You just tap, 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 you're done. And it's like, rather than click, 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 and now it's just tap, 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 tap. I mean, to be honest, it makes no real difference in my eyes. I still think it's a broken game, so...
Well, I just got
I really
got
like
it for free.
XCOM, actually. I like the new one a lot. Did you play the older XCOM games?
I have not, and to be honest, I didn't even know there was until someone pointed it out to me. Now, mind you, that game is probably... from what I've heard, though, I do follow up on a couple of people, and they have said that... Or one or two people have said that the original XCOM game is much better than this one. And honestly, I have one argument to say against every single person that has liked XCOM. I flat out tell them, I'm sorry, the last time I checked, I can't shoot through walls and kill aliens. No, that shit doesn't happen. Oh, but it happens in XCOM. It's like, god damn it, my cover doesn't work, I'm behind full shields, somehow they shoot me anyway. It's like, what the hell is going on in that game? I get shot through buildings, I get shot through train cars, I get shot through other cars, I'm in full shield, and somehow I still get shot. It's like, what is going on? I don't know.
1% chance hit is still a 1% chance hit. Now let me tell you, I've played all of the older XCOM games, including a third-person shooter that was complete trash. But I've played them, and they're there. And I mean, anyone, and I swear to God, I play older games. I grew up on old games, man. When I was a kid, my dad couldn't afford a brand new computer, so he got a computer from like the 1980s that played Police Quest, and it was a black and green monitor. And when you drove cars on Police Quest, you actually had to type turn left and turn right. I couldn't type fast enough, so I kept crashing my car into the wall. So I know how old games can be, okay? And let me tell you, the original XCOM was cool, but it did not age well. Anybody that's from the past, anybody who used to play those games back then that prefers the older XCOM is simply an old fogey. Those are the kind of guys you don't want to get too close to because they might smell a little weird. These guys don't understand that the new XCOM takes everything that the old one did and simplified it. Not made it stupid. Let me make that real clear.
Yeah.
That
That's what I've definitely seen from everything, and I actually got it for free recently, so I'm planning to play it eventually.
Yeah, I mean, it takes all of the strategy elements that the original game had, but just simplify them to a point where it's like, to really the best way to explain it is, if in the new XCOM, if you wanted your guy to walk onto something or like walk over something, you just click your guy and then click a box in front of him, and then the character will do that. But in the old XCOM, it was a 17-button mesh of tactics, and you had to write script keys just so that would happen. I mean, it wasn't that complex, but it was close to that. The new XCOM is such a better experience, and honestly, yes, the percentage thing, where if you have 1% chance to hit, that's still a 1% chance to hit, and that stuff really did piss people off. But man, once you got the flow of that game, I so enjoyed it. And I can totally see that experience working perfectly well on an iPad. No joke.
Well, the iPad thing definitely is the best, is probably going to give it a little bit more popularity and things like that. I'm just, in my eyes, this is the last thing I'm going to say about it. It's incredibly immersion breaking when I'm behind full bars of cover and they can't even see me and I still get nailed right in the head, instant kill on my character, there goes the game. It's like, God, it breaks the complete immersion for me. I just sit there and go, really? Really? I mean, they can't shoot through walls, I can't even hit them, and they're able to just whoop right through buildings. It's like, damn it. That just completely breaks the immersion for me, and I can't do anything other than sit there and just sigh, because I know I can't actually do anything in that mission, because every time I'm going to do it, I'm going to lose a character that I honestly felt should not have been lost. But that's all I'm going to say about it, because that is just the one thing that pisses me off about that game, and I haven't gone back since.
That's understandable, my friend. That is definitely understandable. So, sort of the last thing that I like to bring from PAX so we can move on from it is that Saints Row 4 was announced last week. I think we brought it up in the podcast even. And a lot more information has come out of it from Volition being at PAX recently. And there was a myriad of information from you're controlling superpowers to you're repelling an alien invasion to you're the president of the United States to dubstep guns. So
well,
it seems like they're going to go. It seems like they're taking it back to the original Saints Row wackiness.
What? Are you fucking kidding?
Without going to the sort of like crudeness that Saints Row 3 had.
Oh wait.
Oh
okay.
no, I honestly think they're going balls out. I don't think they're gonna.
No, they're going balls out for sure.
I didn't play the first Saints Row because Xbox, LOL. But I did play Saints Row 2 and I did play Saints Row 3, and man, I tell ya, those guys just were like, they sat in a meeting room and they were like, we don't want to copy what Grand Theft Auto is doing at all. We need to make something unique. Fred, what's your idea? Well, breasts. Good idea, Fred. Hey, Tim, how about you? Well, we could have Tron World. That's a great idea. Sarah, how about you? Ponies. Okay, Sarah, sure, ponies. Everyone just throw your ideas into the middle of this freaking table, and then we're going to put all of that crazy shit in a game. All of it. And that was Saints Row 3. And when I finished playing Saints Row 3, I did not feel like I had a great experience. I just felt like I was in a 4chan post. Like everyone was just throwing ideas at me. There are zombies in the game. For no reason, there are zombies in the game. You can go into digital worlds. You turn into a toilet at a point. I swear to God, anything that could have happened in that game did. And I think that was a big problem. Because even when Saints Row 2 was just crazy weird, it still had some kind of idea of a story that followed along. Even though it got, out of this world crazy. But Saints Row 3 was just like, oh, dude, everything and literally the kitchen sink.
Well, yeah, I feel like the farther they got into the zone of weird, the less it actually mattered.
I really could not figure that out. And Saints Row 4 looks to be more of the same. Oh, by the way, your character, he's the president. He also has superpowers, and he can freeze people with the touch of his finger. What are you doing? This game was about a gang. I mean, did everyone forget that? It's like they made Super Mario Bros. 4, and Mario is now a Nazi hunter that hunts down dead zombies who used to be Russian soldiers. No, that's not Super Mario. Though that would be pretty cool, but that's not what Super Mario is. And I don't understand if they even understand what they understand is anything anymore. Like, they're just, after they got that company got sold, there was just a bunch of people in the room going, "Oh, we got to do something, man, or else these new guys are going to fire us." And they threw this out. I could be wrong, but jeez.
Yeah, I think they're just looking to get a rise out of developers and out of reviewers and stuff like that.
So you don't like that they're keeping it in the Saints Row line of crazy and more crazy and more crazy?
Nope.
Because that seems to be all Saints Row ever did was be crazy.
See, the thing is, Saints Row 2 is actually, I actually think, well, I don't think, I know what I think. I know that Saints Row 2 was a much more enjoyable experience to me than Grand Theft Auto 4, because Grand Theft Auto 4 was literally me in real life trying to avoid my friends' phone calls because they want me to help move a couch or something. You know what I mean? That was Grand Theft Auto 4 to me. That Grand Theft Auto 4 is like, in real life, when I have to go through a toll booth, I don't enjoy it. And in Grand Theft Auto 4, if I do not avoid that toll booth, I have to go through some other weird way to go through city streets, or I get chased by the police, and they'll come at me full force. It wasn't... I mean, it was a really realistic experience, but it was just too realistic compared to the last game where there was a jetpack. And in Saints Row 2, they gave me that jetpack and, you know, a sewage truck where I could spray liquid shit at places. And that was fun. You know what I mean? But Saints Row 3 just went in a bizarre, weird direction that I don't think a lot of people enjoyed. And Saints Row 4 seems to be going even further than that. Because if Saints Row 4 is just you with a lot of superpowers, they already did that game, and no one wanted Crackdown 2.
Unless they patch it with like a Halo 5 beta.
Oh, probably. Jeez.
I do have to say that I think the game that Saints Row 3 needed to be was Just Cause 2.
You know what? If you want Saints Row 4, just play Just Cause 2. That's a beautiful example of a game. It's Bionic Commando in an open world. You couldn't ask for better.
Well, prototype, but, you know.
Oh, yeah, right. Probably, yeah.
Sweet.
I guess everyone has their different opinions. I personally like Saints Row 3 a lot. It's understandable, and, you know, I think they do need to tone down with some of the absolute balls out insane stuff, but it seems like they're going to be reasonable in sort of a Saints Row 2 way with this game. They might be. We have the thing is, well, what do you freaking do? You had superpowers. I don't. That's fine with me. I don't care about superpowers as long as it's explained in the story. It's fine.
No, I don't want them to explain it because they're really bad at that. What they're going to say is, they went to the bathroom and then like the toilet backed up and liquid sewage touched their legs and then they turned into freeze rays with their fingers. I mean, the thing is,
dildos everywhere.
Oh right, that too. My thing is, it's not that I think doing really crazy stuff is wrong. It's that what I think they should be doing is focusing on a couple of key crazy ideas and making those things fun. But instead, what they're doing is they're going to throw all of this stuff out, throw all these ideas out, and go, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. It's like being in a kindergarten room where all these kids are running up to you and trying to show you their finger paintings, and they're not all that great because they're finger paintings that a bunch of kindergartens have done. Even if one of those kids happens to be Van Gogh and he's really good at finger painting, and he's been like pulling at his ear a lot because I think he's getting really sick of that thing, even then, you're not going to pay attention to Van Gogh. You're going to be paying attention to all these crazy kids. And that's exactly what I think Saints Row 4 is going to be, because Saints Row 3 was very much that experience.
But
so many crazy
that
ideas.
was what made. Arguably, that's what made this series stand out and be successful. Because if you look at the sales, Saints Row 3 was where the game took off.
I can
as
imagine.
a franchise.
Well,
So-
I agree, but also the marketing on Saints Row 2, however genius it was a very stupid idea because they got Gary Busey to sell the game, and Gary Busey couldn't sell chopsticks to China. Like, he seriously is not a good... Wow, that's a really good quote. I should write that down somewhere. But he's really not that good of a salesman. And he was crazy in those commercials. You ever see him? He just maniacally laughs at the camera for no reason in one of the commercials while people are set ablaze.
Brain damage.
Well, yeah, because the motorcycle accident. Yeah, you know what happened. It's just weird.
Well, I think we'll just have to wait for August 23rd when the game is released on Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and PC. So, in terms of talking about current generation of platforms, I brought up the question, what games do you think will become successful in the next generation of consoles? Because if you look at this generation of consoles, it was definitely defined by the first-person shooter and the open-world game. This generation of consoles, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, Wii you can kind of throw out, to be honest, was defined by the first-person shooter and the open-world game. I think beyond the shadow of a doubt, those are the two games that had the most prominence in this generation. So, what do you think with new technologies will come to the rise in the next generation?
I think games are going to be a lot more micromanaging of like inventory and supplies and stuff, especially with the Wii U's controller. And I think that there's going to be a lot more games that are more like drop in, drop out, like streamlined, like exploring games, but simple enough that you can still use all the social interactivity of the PlayStation 4. I'm not sure about the Durango yet, though.
You know, sorry, go ahead.
No, continue.
I don't think anyone really has any solid idea of what the Durango's going to be, but seeing Microsoft's track lately, I don't really think we're going to see something that's that amazing. But based off of that wonderful showing of the PlayStation 4's controller that they had over at Sony's offices there, those were cool. I like seeing all the ideas that they had. The problem is, those ideas don't terribly work well.
Thank you! Fucking thank you! I raged so hard against that.
Because
I really did.
The thing is, they're telling us all of these crazy ideas. It's like they came up to the stage and was like, here's the new controller. This game's going to be online. Everything's going to be online. You can drop in and drop out. Your friends can play with you. They can watch what you're playing. You can watch what they're playing. When you go home at night, it's going to sleep with you. It will make you breakfast in the morning. It will do your taxes. I mean, it's like cool.
I'm paying $600 at better.
Oh, yeah, right? But what is it really going to do? Because it ain't going to do all that. See, everyone seems to forget who these people were that came up to stage. Dave Perry, the guy that was standing up there, the guy that used to be the former head of Shiny, I remember him going up and down the streets going, guys, Enter the Matrix is going to be awesome. Did anyone play Enter the Matrix? I've only ever returned one PC game in my life. It was Enter the Matrix because it was completely broken. You couldn't play it. So really, of all of the people that they brought up to the stage, they brought this guy. Not that he's bad. He had a lot of good things that he did in his career. But he's a game designer, and now he's making an online platform for everyone to go into the same network. Now, here's what scares me. You know what one of the greatest things about the PlayStation 3 is? It's not playing with people online, because honestly that's better on the 360 despite the fact you have to pay for the damn thing. The greatest thing about the PlayStation 3 Online is you don't have to pay for anything. It's all free. It's a great little function. Imagine you turn on a game and you never have to pay for an online service. And even when you do pay for the online service for the Xbox 360, games just stop working with that one and they pull them offline all the time. It's really kind of fun for a service you're paying for. With the PlayStation 3, if a game goes offline, which there have been, you're kind of okay with it because you weren't paying per month to play that damn game. And what they're going to be introducing with this PlayStation 4 is going to be a persistent online network. There's no way they don't charge for that. There's just no way. And if they don't charge for that, how expensive is the PlayStation 4 going to really be?
I want to say something. So, if I just want to say something about the PS4, then I'm going to jump back to the main topic here. With the PS4, I do feel you're right. They're definitely going to start charging. There's no way they can get away with that. Renting the servers and having the server room and all that stuff, that's going to cost a shit ton of money. Especially if you're going to have the games constantly there, and if some reasons you want to buy a game for its online purpose only, like I did. I went out, and you know what? I bought Tom Clancy's End War recently. And I can't play it online. It's offline. You're done. I bought that game specifically to play it online. The only thing I can do is host a custom game with one friend who I know owns it still. That kind of pissed me off. But I didn't play for the campaign at all. I don't want to play for the campaign. I want to play the multiplayer. But it's okay, though, because at least it's there. And, I mean, for the PS3, it isn't... You're still going to be spending the same amount of money, but you're still not going to be paying the $60 a month, I guess. Now, I know you have something to say, but what is it?
Well, what I'm going to say is actually going to take maybe a good clear minute, so you go ahead.
Well, I wanted to jump back to the main conversation, so...
Well, go ahead, because what I want to talk about was pretty much how that kind of... What you're playing... The fact that you couldn't play that game online with friends unless you did a direct connection. Imagine everyone on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 right now just getting so pissed off when their consoles right now go offline. because that's going to happen. And no one's thinking about that. But these games that we're playing right now, these ones we're enjoying so much, they're going to stop working in a couple of years. And it's going to really piss people off.
Halo 3, Halo Reach, Halo 4.
You can still do LAN like that.
No.
LAN.
No. Let me explain.
Online.
Okay. I did a video of Steel Battalion recently. Steel Battalion has a sequel disc that was called Steel Battalion Line of Contact. No. Heavy Armor was the Kinect sequel that if you ever play, you should go
the other
to
one.
some special part of hell. Yes, but there was a sequel to the original Xbox. And the original Xbox version, that sequel, it can only be played online. But the Xbox services don't exist anymore. So that disc is a Frisbee. Okay? Now, what you're going to find is every game on the Xbox 360 and on the PlayStation 3 are going to go through the exact same thing. All of them that have any kind of DLC or online content, they're going to erode. They're going to disappear. Their online services are going to be completely disrupt. They're not going to exist anymore. And I don't think that the current gamers right now totally understand that. There are arcade games right now that people have purchased on the Xbox 360, and they're going to disappear. And some of those games are not going to be coming back on the next Xbox. There's no way they can do it, because the next Xbox is most likely not going to be based off a PowerPC chip. It's going to be based off of an Intel chip, most likely. And if they do that, then what you're going to see is a complete changeover. And once that happens, man, shit is going to hit the fan. Fans are going to be so pissed off that their old game catalogs are completely gone. Can you imagine what it's going to be like if you want to go play an old game, like an old arcade game, like, let's say, Perfect Dark Zero. Or, sorry, not Perfect Dark Zero. Nobody wants to play that. But the new Perfect Dark remake for the Xbox 360 arcade. Do you guys know that one? That it came out, like, I think a year or two ago?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that one's really cool. It's actually much better than the Nintendo 64 version, I think. Better frame rate, more options, a whole slew of great options and features. Once the servers go dead, that game only exists on one platform. So unless you have a friend that happens to have that game downloaded, there's nothing they can do. And because it's a closed platform, you can't just copy that game over and send it to a friend's house. You're going to have to do illegal things like hacking and cracking and pirating in order to get those things working on a system. I really think Microsoft has not thought out the longevity of these consoles, and the next console that comes out, if they don't have a persistent user base of taking all of their old content and moving it over to the new system, you're going to see a lot of people really pissed off. Because right now, the Sony fans that bought everything on the PlayStation 3 are super pissed off because the PlayStation 4 will not play like downloadable games, and it will not play PlayStation 4 games. Think about that. That's going to piss off a lot of people when that happens on the Xbox, because there was a larger downloadable market on the Xbox than there ever was on the PlayStation.
Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah.
I definitely can't say no to that, but I don't like commentating on speculation, simply put, because I hate backlash that comes afterwards when you have such a set in stone opinion and then it turns out being wrong. But on that opposite foot.
No, that's actually going to be entirely true.
No, the PlayStation 4 that's absolutely true. Sony said that in the conference. They cannot have PlayStation 3 games running on the PlayStation 4, and the older downloadable content doesn't come over.
I'm aware of that.
Saying, yeah, that is a really bad thing for Sony because, dude, your content's gone now. That doesn't exist anymore. You're never going to be able to bring that over. That's a bad thing. That's a really bad thing.
Well, that's definitely a detriment to the people who own PS3s, but as a person who never owned a PlayStation 1, 2, or 3, I look at the PlayStation 4 as an opportunity to play those games I never played before. So
they're gonna make you buy them again.
I never purchased them in the first place.
Well, you never purchased them in the first place, but then you don't have... But see, that's the thing. When you establish a fan base, you make sure that fan base follows you. You know what I mean? Like, if my dad bought a Ford and he really liked that Ford, he's going to buy the next Ford and the next Ford and the next Ford. He's really not likely to buy a Chevy. But if Ford was suddenly like, well, you're not allowed to buy a Ford again because you're an asshole. Well, then they'd be pissed off, right? And that's what Sony's basically doing to your friends and all the people that follow them. They're going, hey guys, yeah, buy it again. No, they're not going to do that. They almost lost all of their fans after the PlayStation 3 came out at a ridiculous price. And now what they're going to do is they're going to go, hey, you know when we lowered the price of the console and you finally started supporting us again and coming back to us? Forget about that. Learn to ride the bike again. Get out of here.
Well, the thing is that eventually the problem you're bringing up is that content that people have already purchased on the PlayStation 3 can't be carried to the PlayStation 4, correct?
Yes.
Can they still play the content over a LAN system or, the PlayStation Network, which is hosted for free?
The PlayStation Network on the PlayStation 3, see, I would have expected that these consoles would keep these networks open, but as we've seen with the original Xbox's online network was turned off. And
because
there
no one
are
played
games.
it anymore.
No, people were playing it. Not as much.
Not that many, dude.
Not that many. But there were games on there that required that connection to actually make these games work. So I have games in my collection that when you turn them on, they ask you to log on, and they don't work. And it sucks. But there are a lot of examples of that. I actually have Xbox 360 games right now that if I put them in my console, they will not work because of that exact reason. Well, I have one which is an arcade pack collection, which is a bunch of arcade games, and because they upgraded the operating system so many times, there are 2 games on the disc that will not work. And I actually had to contact Microsoft after buying the game, and they had to give me a downloadable copy of the game. And now that game is pulled off Microsoft's arcade service, so you can't even play it anymore. It was like Bomberman something or whatever. I honestly don't remember what the game is anymore because I have not been able to play it because it's been so damn long. But it's like, seriously, it blows my mind that this is a modern issue, a modern system has this problem, and Microsoft has not addressed these issues. And honestly, Sony is bit the dust. They're just like, you know what, guys, it's not going to work. Don't even think about it. And that's cool for them to do that, but they got to realize that's going to piss off a lot of consumers. And man,
I think that's the problem, though, is that you'd have to put the money into making it work with the next system, which is going to take. I don't even want to begin to think about how many hours that puts in there. Make sure all these engines work. Make sure everything works, or you sort of pull the Band-Aid and see who follows you along. So that's it's definitely tough to figure out what's going to work and what's going to fail.
For sure it is. I mean, Sony has a legitimately good reason not to offer backwards support because they were like, you guys didn't buy our PlayStation 3 when we had a PlayStation 2 in it, so why are we going to keep that in there? So, they're fine. Like, I get them. I really do. They're like, hey, backwards compatibility, it don't flow with us right. Okay, you want backwards compatibility, you go somewhere else. And I totally understand Sony's position on that. But Microsoft has not been good about this, and I fear for what they do. And believe me, what they're going to do with these new systems is introduce social features that have not existed on the modern platforms we have now. And they're going to include ways... They're going to make games that prevent us from buying them in stores, from being able to share them with friends. And what they're going to offset is... They're basically, what their idea is, if we give people Facebook on their consoles, they're not going to care that they can't share their games with friends. That's not true. Absolutely untrue. And I think they're going to understand that as soon as these consoles come out and people buy Steam boxes instead.
Ooh, actually, see,
I think the Steam box is going to fail, to be honest.
I got 2 things. Again, I still want to jump back to that main topic here, but all right. Whatchamacallit? I got
we sort of bridged off to something else entirely. So.
All right, shush. I want to say my stuff this time. All right, I got 2 things to say. One, apparently rumors are going around Xbox is only going to have discs so that you can install them. You don't actually get discs to play games anymore. You just get them to install them to your Xbox, and I heard it's going to be entirely based off Xbox Live. Again, gay as hell, because I hate that. I hate Steam with a fucking passion. Because I don't own my damn games. If my account goes off, all that money is gone. Yeah, the games are cheap, but my entertainment that I got from it, it's all gone. If your Steam account is gone, you're gone. You have no way of getting your games back.
It's always Minecraft.
Yeah, exactly. pisses me the fuck off.
Yeah, because I'm going to spend
So
hours playing
I'm
Minecraft.
tired of the companies owning the game, and I want to own the game myself. I have legally bought that. I should be able to own the game itself. I should be able to take my console off live and, play it. I want to go to, some random ass house and be like, hey, I'm going to play this game in it. And they'd be like, okay, I don't even need internet. I just play the game there. I mean, no one would ever do that, but it's still the case. I'm sick of game developers owning my fucking games. I really am. And that's all this is going to, because you know what? They want to quote-unquote prevent piracy. Even though, to be honest, most of the time people pirate because your games are complete shit and they don't want to buy them. So
but at the same point, we still don't know.
Here.
This is all still speculation and rumor.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But,
like I said, this was all rumor, but
I do,
still making my point.
I do completely agree with you that a buyer should own their games. GOG.com offers a great alternative to Steam because you can download your games DRM free. I mean, I'm telling you, man, I've run into issues reviewing games myself where the GOG.com version outweighs the legal version you buy in a store or whatever. Not that GOG.com is illegal. But I mean, it really, Another World, the 15th Anniversary Edition, never buy that on CD, ever. Ever, ever, ever in the history. If you see it in the CD in a store, you burn that thing. I don't mean like copy it. I mean, you set it on fire. That thing should not exist. 4 install limitation on a game that you might want to install a little bit more than 4 times. It's incredibly obtuse. And the only reason I'm okay with Steam, the only reason is that Valve is Valve. If they were owned by EA, if they were owned by another company, that's where I would be very...
Origin.
Sorry. Yeah. You know what I mean? If they were any other company, I'd be really worried. But Valve has constantly shown a good... I mean, that could change in the future. But Valve has constantly shown an understanding with their consumers that exceeds most other companies. I mean, they do things that you wouldn't even expect them to do.
They're the Apple of video game companies.
They're
really good at consumers, but man, they are predatory. They have predatory business practices that should be depraved. That they have been to court several times for shit that they should not have won. And I'll be honest, Valve hasn't had an original idea in years. Everything they've released has been a mod that they've purchased the company that made it.
Well, it worked out so well for them in the past. I mean, like after Half-Life, they're like, "What do you guys want to do next?" Oh, there's these guys in a basement. They're making something called Counter-Strike or something. You want to try that out? I mean, you know what I mean? It was a great idea, and everyone took it. They bought DoD. They bought the Team Fortress guys over. I mean, they
bought Dota. They bought Team Fortress. They bought Portal. They bought Left 4 Dead. Anything that isn't Half-Life, Valve hasn't made it.
Yeah, pretty much. I remember a lot of people tend to forget, like during the time when they were buying all these mods left and right, they were like, well, we got to come up with an original idea. Well, what do you guys want to do? Well, how about Ricochet? That's a cool idea. And they made Ricochet, and everyone was like, oh, wow, this wasn't a good idea at all.
That game's a piece of shit.
Like, oh. But yeah, I mean, Valve does crazy cool. I mean, Valve to me is a company that takes a great idea, and they're just like, okay, let's make it better. And then they do. And then everything's cool, and then to me, if they don't get the idea right, they're like, well, let's just make it a little bit better here, a little bit better there. Funny to me, the only game they've never done that with was literally Ricochet. Ricochet was like the one game where they released it and went, there's no saving this, and they walked away. But I would love to see a Ricochet too. I seriously would, especially now that Tron is all powerful and everything. Like Tron movies back
Tron's
out.
very powerful.
Well, I mean, like, the Tron movie's back out, and, like, they want to make a sequel to the new Tron movie, and the Tron game was garbage. I honestly could see them making a sequel to Ricochet that's more Tron-inspired and action-packed and stuff. I could totally see them doing that. And at this point in Valve's history, they could easily do that and just be like, hey, guess what? For free, here you go. I mean, did anybody actually buy Dota 2?
No. Valve doesn't have to make another game ever. They never have to make a single other game. They just can live off taking money from developers and publishers from games that you purchased on Steam.
But that's just the thing. They're going to. They're going to make another game. Because if it was any other company, they wouldn't, but this company will. That's the way I feel about those guys. They get it sometimes.
It's their secret world plan domination. They sucker you in. They get all charismatic on you. Then they start getting the Holocaust, and then, shit gets real. They want to get out.
Well, I've never been suckered.
It's going to be World War II all over again, but with gaming.
I'm never gonna get suckered in by Valve, so you don't have to worry about me.
Oh,
Yeah,
I did. I bought all their games, including.
I have a very deep-seated distrust of a lot of what has to do with Valve, but that's more personal bias and everything. But that's
Hey,
just.
can I go back to the main topic?
Go ahead.
I've been meaning to say that for the last 15 minutes. So, back to the main topic, which I need a reminder on again. What was the main topic?
It was, what do you think? What sort of games are going to become popular next generation of consoles when
yes,
it's released?
Okay, so the obvious logical conclusion, which I'm going to go with, is that the next new popular set of games, they're all going to be fucking MMOs. They're all going to be MMOs, either that or they're going to be very RPG/MMO types. I'm just going to go ahead and give that prediction right now because I can tell you what game goes better with social media? Games that you can play with all of your friends. That's what they're probably going to be going hard on next. They're also going to be probably throwing in some strategy games. I'd like to see that, actually. But I don't think they're... I mean, they're probably going to. I mean, Supreme Commander hit the Xbox 360, and that's became one of my favorite RTSs of all time. Only because of the sheer immensity of it. So, I seriously think the MMOs are going to get popular. So, that's what I want to say. Exploration games, maybe, but I get the feeling it's going to be a lot like, oh man, what was that one game on the PS3 where you could leave notes for your friends and things like that?
Dark Souls and Demon Souls?
Yeah, they're probably going to be doing shit like that too, but with like the Fallout series or maybe, the whole Bethesda thing, they could be doing that. I don't know, they could do a lot with it, but I get the feeling MMOs are where it's going to be. To
be honest, I think that this is going to be... we're going to cycle back to PC being the dominant platform. I mean, you could argue that the consoles are definitely going to have a bigger market share, which is definitely possible, but I think the PC is going to be the primary development platform for a lot of big companies. I mean, Epic is making their next game for the computer. Unreal 4 is being developed for the computer in mind. And you look at the influence that CD Projekt's had, which is the guys who run GOG, and they're definitely big. You can see the rise of esports as something that's dominated by League of Legends and StarCraft 2. So I would say that we're going to see a lot more PC-focused game design, which as long as I have a computer that can run it, I'm fine with it. So.
See, that's the problem, though, is usually, for the most part, those computers are going to cost you more than a damn console will. Not to mention, the damn consoles usually also tend to be more optimized and can run games longer. Look at the damn Xbox. I mean, you got yourself a 10-year console right there. Like, that console is running games that are currently on the PC right now. And to be honest, that I think is more of an accomplishment than I've ever seen. And if they just upgrade everything, just bring it up to at least a point where I can be like, this console will be good for the next 10 years, then you will have made me happy. Because then, in that case, I will be able to still play all my games without upgrading, without optimizing, without doing anything else. It's just a brick that plays my games. And I love that.
I think that's the way it's going to go. The consoles are always going to be there for people that don't want to mess with computers. But I think once the consoles become too complex, which is what I believe they're aiming towards, then it's going to push a lot of people away.
Yeah, simplicity is definitely something that really stands out in terms of, when you get an Xbox, you pull it out, you plug in the power brick, you plug it into the TV, you plug in your internet cord, or even you don't, you put in the game disc and you play the freaking game. That's it.
Yeah.
Again, brick.
But it's
Simple.
honestly, lately it has not been like that. I got a friend who's the same age as me. He's been playing video games as long as I have, if not more. He's been playing he's owned and played every single Nintendo console up until the Wii U. Came over to my house, sat down, turned on the Wii U, didn't know how to do anything on it. Didn't even know how to start a game. I swear to God, that was a thing that just happened. And this is a guy that knows his way around systems. So when that happens, you gotta really question what they're thinking of with these new consoles. And if the Wii U is any indication of the future of the way that these guys are making things, it's wow. Nintendo's a little bit unique in that sense, but it's really gonna be bad for them.
Well, if the interface is anything like the current Xbox is, where you put the game in the disc and the first thing that's brought up is the ability to press A and start the game, I can't complain about that.
Well, the first thing I get when I put on the Xbox 360 is about 17 commercials, an advertisement for deodorant.
Actually,
I fucking hate that. That's
not
such
true.
bullshit. Those aren't
That's
fucking
not true.
advertisements.
There's only like 3 or 4 advertisements, but even then, I understand why the fuck is there advertisements on my gold account. But still,
How is it any different from what you see at the end of a Steam slate where you have to close it? I don't have to close those ads. They don't even bother me. I just start the console, press A, and go on my own business.
yeah.
Thing is, for me, next time you're on an Xbox 360, try and play an arcade game and look at all the things you have to do to get to an arcade game. It's not just point play. It's literally click, click.
I know
click,
it's definitely
click, click,
difficult,
click, click,
but
click.
I mean,
It's stupid. They don't
start
need
up
to do that.
Solitaire, you have to hit the start button, go to all programs, you have to go to accessories. You still have to navigate through a couple menus.
No, I get that, but you expect that on a PC, but on a console, the interface and ideas and concepts should be streamlined, but they don't seem to do that well with the Xbox 360. The
There's
PlayStation
pinning.
3, sort of better, but still not as great.
You can pin stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's sort of like a rain meter thing where if once you learn how to do it, it becomes a lot easier. But
I
mean,
suppose.
to be honest, I think that's sort of gaming in general. Once you learn how to do it, better than everyone else, it becomes a lot easier for you.
I don't know, dude. When I start up my phone, like I got an iPhone, when I start it up and I want to play a game, I just swipe and click, and then it's my phone. That wasn't even its proper function. Its function is a phone. When the phone can start a game faster than my freaking Xbox 360, we got a problem, brothers, because that should not be happening. And I don't know if Microsoft realizes that or not, but they are not doing a good job. And if the next console, I swear, at E3 or wherever the hell they're going to be, when they show off this Durango, which is named off of a children's CG movie, which is great, but should not be named after that. When they show this thing off, and everyone's like, this is so cool, look at that box, it's black, because that's most likely it's going to be its color. When they show off that box, and they show off the interface better not be, I swear to God, it better not be 1,000 bricks of content. And they go, one of these things is a play button. Find it. And I'm going to
They're
just...
not even labeled. They're just... It's like a brick wall. You have to guess. Just point and click.
That's actually
One
what
of
I'm
them
used
is-
to. 'Cause I have Windows 8 phone, so I'm pretty used to how the interface works.
That's not a good thing. You don't want that. Because, dude, you remember those guess card games? I think they were on like Super Mario Brothers and stuff. You'd have to pick 2 cards that were the same. I don't want that to be my interface for my operating system for anything. You know what I mean?
Which is why I don't like Windows 8, by the way. Fuck that!
It's getting to the point where I'm just going to make my own distribution of Linux and call it Shane OS. And it's just going to be one button that has Internet Explorer in the center because I hate myself.
Well, I think our ranting has gone on long enough.
Yes.
I suppose. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for this very long-term episode. But, you know, it's always good to introduce new ideas and see new sounds and think about it a lot more in depth than normal. But thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please be sure to tune in as we will be continuing to bring new stuff to you every day, more or less. Thank you for joining us, and be sure to join us for next midnight launch because there's a spot in line for everyone. Bye-bye.